Hey everyone, if you're tuning in, you're obviously looking to get straight to the facts, and you have definitely come to the right explainer. Today, our core mission is demystifying Juniper Connected Security. Specifically, we're going to look at how Juniper's Sky Advanced Threat Prevention, or Sky ATP, acts as this incredible multi-layered shield against today's constantly evolving digital threats. We're going to break down exactly how the whole thing works, straight from Juniper's own architecture. So here's our game plan for today. We'll start by looking at the evolving threat landscape, figure out what Sky ATP actually is, break down the core components, watch a real-world remediation in action, and then wrap it all up by diving deep into the malware inspection pipeline. Okay, let's dive right into this. Section 1. The evolving threat and exactly why legacy security is falling short. I really want you to think about your own network infrastructure for a second. With malware evolving away from those old, broad, unfocused campaigns into highly specialized, hyper-targeted attacks, is your legacy firewall actually protecting you? Seriously, it's a critical question. Traditional firewalls were built for a completely different era of the internet, and as we're about to see, the modern threat landscape demands a much smarter defense. Because let's face it, the internet is just a vast, dangerous place right now. Vulnerable endpoints, meaning your actual everyday users and devices, are constantly being bombarded by bad actors who are operating straight out of the cloud. These modern threats are persistent, they're incredibly good at hiding, and they are literally always probing for a weak spot in your perimeter. And we aren't just talking about kids playing pranks in their basements anymore. We are talking about the heavy hitters, nasty rootkits, spyware, and massive botnets. These malicious activities have turned into multi-million-dollar ransomware operations, state-sponsored corporate espionage, and even the intentional disruption of critical infrastructure. The tactics are highly specialized, and they are ruthlessly efficient. Which brings us perfectly to Section 2. What is Sky ATP? The cloud-based solution. So, let's define the hero of our story here. Sky ATP is a cloud-based anti-malware solution built specifically for Juniper's SRX series devices. It delivers deep inspection, actionable reporting, and immediate inline malware blocking. Think of it like a bouncer and a detective working together. The local SRX device sitting at your network perimeter, that's the bouncer, checking IDs, handling the everyday crowd. But the Sky ATP Cloud, that is the detective's headquarters. It's providing the deep forensics and intelligence to tell the bouncer exactly who the really dangerous individuals are well before they ever even reach the front door.
And the beauty here is the completely seamless integration. The on-premise SRX firewall communicates instantly and directly with the Sky ATP Cloud. The cloud does all the really heavy computational lifting, things like sandbox deception and advanced behavioral analysis, and then feeds that critical intelligence right back down to your local network in real time.
Moving right along to Section 3, Sky ATP Core Components. Let's look at the engines under the hood.
To really give you a sense of scale, we're dealing with an incredibly comprehensive, interconnected ecosystem here. Sky ATP manages the whole shebang. It starts with specialized cloud feeds at the very top, routes intelligence down through the SRX device, continuously monitors internal compromise detection, and ties it all together with the web-based service portal at the bottom, where administrators actually manage the entire system.
To break all of that down a bit more clearly, the cloud feeds are basically telling your system what to block on a global scale, providing constantly updated lists of known command and control servers and GeoIP data. The SRX series device takes that specific intelligence and actually performs the inline blocking. Meanwhile, the internal compromise detection engine is constantly watching for local hosts inside your network that might have already been infected. And right dead center of it all is the malware inspection pipeline, which is where suspicious files are actually scrutinized.
All right, Section 4, Traffic Remediation in Action. Basically, a day in the life of a file.
So imagine the exact journey a file takes. Step 1, a client on your network requests a file download from the internet. Step 2, the SRX intercepts that file and immediately checks its security profile. Step 3, if it's a file type that needs a closer look, the SRX shoots a copy straight up to the Sky ATP Cloud. Step 4, the cloud analyzes it and sends a definitive verdict, good or bad, right back down. And finally, Step 5, based on that intelligence from the detective up in the cloud, our bouncer, the SRX, either allows the clean file through or shuts it down completely. The response is completely binary and incredibly fast. If the file is malicious, the SRX drops it immediately. That stops an infection completely dead in its tracks and cuts off any outbound command and control traffic. But
If the Sky ATP cloud gives the not infected green light, the SRX seamlessly routes it right to the end user without them even noticing a hiccup. It is highly efficient, inline protection at its best.
And that leads us to the final piece, Section 5, the malware inspection pipeline, the ultimate threat funnel.
This pipeline is essentially a giant filtering funnel, and it operates on some highly aggressive time frames. Think about this: 1 second for a cache lookup, 5 seconds for an antivirus scan. If the file is still acting sketchy, it moves to a 30-second static analysis. And then, the absolute sneakiest, most sophisticated threats are pushed into a deep, 7-minute interrogation called dynamic analysis. Let's break down how this escalates step by step.
Now, what's really amazing is the sheer efficiency of Stage 1. In a real-time cache lookup, which takes literally a single second, Sky ATP simply asks the network, hey, have we seen this exact file before, and do we already know if it's bad? If a known safe file matches a clean hash, it instantly gets a green checkmark. It safely passes through without needing any further reanalysis, which saves a massive amount of processing power.
But what if it's a totally brand new file? Well then, we hit Stage 2, antivirus scanning. This takes about 5 seconds. Here, the system checks what all the popular standard antivirus scanners say about it. The massive advantage here is that it provides a sweeping safety net against a huge number of known threats, like standard viruses and Trojans. The catch, though, is that traditional AV relies on known signatures, meaning it's always going to be just slightly behind the absolute latest zero-day malware.
And because traditional AV isn't quite enough anymore, those tricky, unknown files get dropped into Stage 3, static analysis. This takes about 30 seconds. Here, Sky ATP rigorously examines the file without actually executing it. It could look exactly like an innocent, everyday PDF, but by inspecting the file's hidden metadata and its entropy, which is essentially a measure of how chaotic and intentionally obscured the internal code looks, the system can flag and drop a malicious document before it ever gets a chance to open on a user's machine. But we know malware authors are smart, right? They obfuscate and pack their code. So for the absolutely sneakiest, most deeply hidden threats, we hit the final, most intense hurdle. Stage 4, dynamic analysis. Taking up to 7 minutes, this is where the gloves really come off. The file, like a suspicious.exe, is actually executed inside a real, highly monitored cloud environment so the system can observe exactly what its true behavior is when unleashed. This is, hands down, the coolest part of the whole system. Seriously, advanced malware is often programmed to detect if it's trapped in a sandbox. If it realizes it's being watched by security software, it will behave perfectly normally just to avoid detection. Sky ATP completely flips the script using deception. The sandbox literally generates fake, realistic user interaction, creates fake, high-value target files, and even intentionally creates vulnerable areas in the OS. It actively tricks the smart malware into revealing its true, malicious nature. It's this incredible high-stakes cat-and-mouse game. And all the while, the machine learning algorithm is watching, learning what this brand new malware looks like, and instantly reprogramming itself to get smarter for the next attack. Which really leaves us with one final critical thought. We've seen just how specialized the modern threat landscape has become, and exactly how Juniper's Sky ATP counters that danger with a cloud-based detective, a lightning-fast inline bouncer, and a rigorous, multi-staged machine learning pipeline. So I'll ask you again, with malware algorithms constantly learning and reprogramming to get smarter and deadlier, is your network truly prepared to intercept tomorrow's specialized attacks? It might just be time to evaluate the layers of your own defense. Stay curious, and thanks so much for joining me on this explainer.